Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, April 6th, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. Well, happy Tuesday after Easter Sunday and after Easter Sunday weekend. I hope your weekend and Easter Sunday was good, and however you celebrate Easter, if you celebrate Easter. I do have a couple of Easter quotes for you. Basil Hume says, "The greatest gift of Easter is hope." We certainly hope so. And another one by Clarence Hall. If Easter says anything to us today, it says this: you can put truth in a grave, but it won't stay there. I think we know where that applies. Our G-list guest today is T.A. Dadou, the communication representative at MadlySane.com. And that's MadlySane.com. Tulu I'm sorry, man. You told me Agu Ade is the communication representative at MadlySane.com. He's a 46-year-old father, comedian, and mixed martial artist. He's a communication representative for MadlySane. He graduated from Midwestern State University with a bachelor's degree in master's communication. He's half Nigerian. He spent 10 years of his life there. He's been to a few countries overseas and traveled all over the United States. He's a comedian, and we certainly look forward to having that conversation today. And one final little quote from Easter. If Easter says anything to us today, it says this: you can put truth in a grave, but it won't stay there. Okay, let's see. We look forward to that. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the Best Girl Consulting Firm. So let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to the round table, and we're going to talk with Barbara Wallace-Edwards and Michael Walker this morning and see what's happening in their world. Good morning, Michael Walker. We'll go with you first. You got another appointment. How you doing this morning?
I am doing well this morning, TG. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Life's good. So what's happening in your world?
Well, I just want to say that I hope everybody enjoyed the Easter weekend, their break. I heard, interesting enough, Friday was Good Friday, and I hear that there's a congressman that wants to put forth that Easter become a national holiday, and he's picking the Monday after Easter as being the national holiday. So we'll see if that's going to happen. It'll be interesting to find out how it goes. Some people say it should be Good Friday because a lot of people don't have Good Friday off. So it doesn't really matter. But if we can get a 3-day weekend out of Easter, that'll be great.
That's what you're looking forward to.
Anything to stop the scammers from calling. They take a break on Easter too.
Oh, man. Thank you. God almighty, I had to get on a couple of them the other day. It's like, I have asked you over and over again not to call this number. And they just keep calling and trying to sell you something you don't want or doesn't need. And yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things you need to do. One is get on the Do Not Call registry. There is a registry for Do Not Call. So you have to sign up for that and put your name on that. And then I hear there's a new program out called Incogni, INGCONI, I think, .com. And you can go there and they will go and get your personal information off of the dark web and all these places that get your information and resell it. So I'm going to look into this incognito thing, and as I get some more information, I'll let you know. But supposedly you can sign up for that, and it goes searches and remove your information to stop it.
That would be great, And they kill me because they have their little schemes they come up with, and they tell you like, well, we've checked out your records, and you asked for this loan, and you wanted to have this loan. We've done this. I didn't ask you for, SHIT. So take me off of your list, and I've asked them several times. So
yeah,
we'll just keep going. Sometimes you have to get a little ugly, but
yeah, I agree. Tom, what about your boy Tiger Woods?
Oh man, I don't know what Tiger's doing. His girlfriend told him she was gonna quit him if he didn't cutting up. I don't know. I don't think he's effective as a golfer anymore. I mean, not at that level he was. I mean, he was the best in the world. So I don't know. If he wants to continue that downward slide, he probably needs to get help. So
yeah, I agree. Well, supposedly he's going out of the country to seek help to deal with his dependency on pain meds. When they stopped him, or actually when he had the accident, and he submitted to the breathalyzer, he blew triple zeros, meaning there was no alcohol in his system. But they arrested him anyway, saying he was impaired, and they found 2 pain pills in his pocket. And he refused to submit to a urine test or a blood test. So that's why he got the arrest for driving under the influence, but it didn't necessarily mean it was alcohol. And so now he's seeking treatment. You can tell that he's not used to, and I say this, I would say that he may be inexperienced in the political game, because when he had the accident, he walked away and got on his phone and called Trump, because he's dating Trump's former daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Donald Trump Jr. So he called Trump on the phone. And when he was walking back towards the cops, he said, I was just talking to the president. You can tell that's a rookie. That's a rookie move right there. Okay. You don't do that. And now it's been broadcasted out to everybody knows that he was trying to pull a favor card by calling Trump. Trump's cell phone. So he's going to let the police know, I got Trump's cell phone number and I have it on the phone.
And he didn't. Where was he, in Florida?
Yes, he was down in Jupiter, Florida.
He might have gotten somebody who wasn't a Trump fan.
That's why I say he was a rookie. That was a rookie mistake.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll get himself squared away.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Hopefully he will be.
Yeah.
I guess when Barbara come on here, we'll talk about the women's Final Four game and stuff. It was pretty interesting there, what went on. But this weekend, we had some really good basketball games, I would say. That game between UConn, their first game that they played, I think it was on Saturday night when they ended up beating Illinois, was a pretty good game there. I wasn't surprised that Michigan won at all. I thought, and I only watched Michigan a couple of times during the year, but I saw them blow out Auburn and beat them by 38 points.
Damn.
And I knew, and this was on a neutral floor. And I said, Michigan's going to win the national championship. Not so much the fact that Auburn's not the team that they had been the last few years, but I watched the way they played their game, not so much what Auburn did, but what Michigan did. And I felt like they would win the championship, and that proved true.
Well, what'd you think about who was that beat UCLA beating South Carolina like little children?
Well, it's interesting. I was surprised at the score, but I wasn't surprised that UCLA won the game. part of it is because, and you appreciate that, their top 6 players were all seniors.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So they kind of had the experience, and they've had some heartbreak. Like last year, they lost in the Final Four last year, and then to UConn, as a matter of fact. And then this year, they only lost one game, and that was to Texas early on in the season. So they came back and they climbed the mountain and beat Texas, and South Carolina took out UConn for them. So they took out South Carolina, and that UConn game with South Carolina was a really tough game. And I think it took a lot out of them they left everything on the floor on that one. I don't think they had much left.
Well, I saw where one of the guys said that pretty much something to that effect, that UConn was the game that they had set their sights on. That was the game they not only wanted to win, they needed to win. And after they won that, then they had climbed the mountain and probably didn't have much left in their tank.
Yeah. I could see that, and then, like you say, this is the first national championship that UCLA has won. And this is something interesting. That coach had been there, I think, for 15 years.
Wow.
So that's unheard of.
Yeah,
but they stuck with her,
Yeah, it is. Well, let me say good morning to Raymond Crump, Laurie Luke Sloman, some of the other people, Anthony Tedeschi, Etley Staten, and all of them who've joined us this morning in the comments. We appreciate you guys being with us. Let's get Barbara on here and see what she's got going this morning. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards. How are you?
Good morning. I've had better days, but I'm here. What
Well,
you guys doing
like
this morning? Yeah, I kind of jumped between Don and Gino the other night, and yeah. I got a couple of stitches to show for it. So
you caught an elbow that Don Staley was trying to throw, didn't you?
While Don was trying to beat Gino's, I wasn't gonna say that word, but anyway, I jumped in and had to referee some things. But anyway,
well,
yeah,
we wish you well.
Thank you.
Well. What you got? What else you got this morning?
Well, we were talking about, about basketball, and I want to congratulate the South Dakota women for winning the NIT women's tournament, Auburn Tigers for winning the men's NIT tournament, and of course we've already talked about, you all have talked about the Michigan game. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines for winning that game, and the UCLA Bruins for women's NCAA tournament. So yeah, there was a lot of good basketball over the weekend.
What do you think about that center for UCLA? She's 6'7", and you know that term all the young kids say 6'7". Well, she's real 6'7".
She's the real 6'7". Yes, she is. Yeah, she's something else.
Yes.
Yes. And her younger sister is on the team as a freshman. She's about 6'4", 6'5".
Right.
Yeah.
I saw I think they showed her mom in the stands. How tall is her mom? Is her mom a former player or something?
Yeah, she is a former player.
And her dad is too, isn't he? Didn't her dad play as well? I think he played in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a funny commercial on TV where Lauren Betts is playing, and she scored, and she turned to the crowd and did the heart symbol like this, and then she scored again, and she pointed. And so these two kids sitting down, one talking about, she pointed at me, and the other guy looked back and see her mom there with mom on it and stuff. And then the guy said, dude, that's her mom back there. And they showed her mom. So then they realized Lauren wasn't looking at them.
Yeah. I hear you.
Hey,
go ahead.
Let's talk about your boy.
Which one?
The chief negotiator. Last week he came out and said that Iran's air-to-ground missiles and all this stuff was totally decimated. They had no air defense and whatever. And the very next day they shot down the plane.
Yeah.
I think they got two planes
Two.
left.
Yeah.
2 planes, yes.
And that came out the very next day. Huh?
6, 8 months ago, whatever he said, they had totally obliterated all of their firepower.
Right. Yeah, they didn't have anything left.
Well, you know what's ironic about this? The plane that was shot down that had the 2 pilots, and they just rescued one pilot. They finally got him after about, I guess, 24 hours or so. They found him, and that's all interesting. And hats off to the military for how they pulled that off. But it's been revealed that it was a shoulder-to-air missile that got him. So in other words, it was one of the Iranians military out there in the field with this thing on his shoulder that shot the plane. It wasn't any sophisticated thing. Okay, that did that. So, and that brings us to another discussion about this war. You know, I think, and you can tell by Trump's speaking, he's talking about we're just overpowering them and we're decimating them. All that may be good, but there is some lessons that we can learn from this, and particularly from Ukraine. Zelensky tried to offer the White House some support and offered some of their capabilities and what they had done against Russia, because we know that Russia secretly is supporting Iran and using their stuff, where we were helping Ukraine. But Ukraine will also doing some other things that may not look as sophisticated or as, it certainly was not as expensive, but it proved to be effective in fighting over there. In other words, some of our big, heavy equipment, there's a drawback to it, is that it's not really built for that over there. And like when they did the rescue and rescued the guy, they had to destroy the planes that they went in there because they couldn't get out of the sand to take back off. So they had to destroy those planes. Also, the drones that we're flying. Ukraine has a manufacturing plant that are going to manufacture, I see here, 3 million drones this year alone, compared to roughly 300,000 that'll be produced by the U.S. So the U.S. drones are much bigger, you know, probably much more destructive. Of course, they're more costly. Iran has drones that cost anywhere between $5,000 to $20,000, I've read, okay? Where our drones cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. So they're able to mass manufacture those drones. And the drones that they're using can take them up to about 20 miles from the front line of the Russian front line. And they're being operated remotely by pilots there. But they're not expensive to manufacture and stuff. So we got to kind of change that, you know, that tone. It's just like a basketball game or a football game. You may be a team that's a power basketball team, but you run up against a team that's totally finesse and speed. You got to adapt to that. And I see that's what's happening over here, that we're not as nimble to fight this war as we should be, because we're going to overpower you and stuff.
Well, first of all, you know, Taco says we're not in a war. He says it's not really a war. We're, you know, we're just having fun. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
He's an idiot.
Yeah. Well, you know.
My wife said,
what can we say?
IDIOT.
Yeah, you know, a real one. You know, whenever the president takes an opportunity to discuss the world affairs with children at an Easter egg roll, you know, it's really crazy.
I didn't hear about that. So he talked that to children.
Yeah, on Easter Sunday, he sent. Well, this was, you know, he'd already sent this crazy Truth Social post on Sunday, and I won't read it, but I'm sure everybody's read it by now. But it was really insane. And if any other president had done that, you know, they'd be ready to get them out of office right away.
Any other human being.
Anyone, that's right. But he also took an opportunity to discuss major affairs with children at the Easter egg roll on the White House lawn. He was talking to the kids, asking them, did any of them vote for Kamala, and how she had such a low IQ, and if they voted for Kamala, then they should be ashamed of themselves. And then he started talking about the war and how he was going to liberate, get rid of Iran and all that they're doing, and just crazy stuff. And the kids were like, "What? What are you talking about?"
How old were these children?
They're like toddlers, babies to maybe 10 years old, the oldest ones, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, Tom, if they went to the White House for an Easter egg hunt, they had to be pretty young.
You would think so, yeah.
There were babies. Some were arm carrying babies. People carried the babies in their arms, and others were just toddlers, 2 and 3 years old.
I wonder what the parents thought. I wonder what the kids thought. What did the parents think?
I don't know.
Something wrong with him.
Yeah.
I'll say this: the way they carried on when Joe Biden stubbed his toe at that debate, the way they carried on about him and how he needed to be replaced and removed and blah, 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 and to not do it for this guy is pretty incredible because, there's something wrong with this guy.
The way they talked about President Obama for wearing a tan suit, minor things compared to what Trump is doing.
Wearing a tin suit. I missed that one.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. They talked about him, how it was not presidential at all for him to wear a light colored suit. President should only wear navy blue and black suits.
Yeah, Obama did a press conference one time and he had on a tan suit and it was kind of spring. So they don't know anything about fashion anyway.
Right.
Okay? So let's clear the air with that, okay? So he came out with a tan colored suit in the springtime and did a press conference. And everybody was saying that was so unpresidential that he did that, shouldn't be dressed that way, and what an embarrassment it was. And then also at the time, I think something similar to that, he and Michelle met on stage and they did a fist bump and they started saying that was some type of sign, like a
gang sign or something.
Yeah, something against America and stuff. They can say whatever they want to say. However, I will maintain this. America was never embarrassed by former President Barack Obama,
right,
his wife, or his kids.
That's right.
When he went across the pond to meet with dignitaries, we didn't have to worry about his etiquette and the way he would represent the U.S. Okay?
That's right.
So I'll just leave it at that, and you can fill in the rest. And it's interesting that you guys talked about the egg hunt and dealing with children. There's an article that's talking about the problem within the White House and that there is some concern that the president isn't getting the full picture from the military about what's happening over there.
Of course not.
They're putting together montage of stuff being blown up and all of this type of stuff, but they're not really filling in the small details like what I just shared with you about the capability and the fact they used a shoulder-to-arm missile to take it down. These different types of things. But it's kind of funny that an article was written saying one of the fundamental realities of this administration is that the president has organized his White House in such a way to prevent anything from ever troubling his precious mind. Having surrounded himself with people, men and women, so eager to please that they will submit practically to any humiliation thrown their way. He has filtered out information that might challenge his preconceptions, his assumptions, or even simply his ego. What he wants from his aides and allies is the kind of praise, attention, and constant affirmation that you might give to a child with low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Now that's a mic drop moment.
Absolutely is.
Yeah, it is.
I figured that, Michael, either they were not being truthful with him or he's not able to understand the truth when they share it with him, because what he says is totally different from reality.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a little bit of both, Barbara.
Okay.
That, there was one guy that says Trump doesn't understand this war and how it's being fought, because what they left out was the fact that Iran is using that strait to control the oil. So he may have gone in and he may have obliterated their military and did all this other stuff, but they still hold that economic key. And he didn't understand the pressure points, in other words.
Right.
He was fighting this based on ego. And I'm big bad Trump. I'm going to do this.
And traditional wars.
That's
right.
it.
And this is not the traditional war.
No. Yeah. And wars will not be traditional anymore.
Well, and then those Iranians, I mean, I saw them they've said a couple of things like, they were negotiating. They were in negotiations twice. In the middle of the negotiations, they started bombing them. And the guy said, well, hell, what are we supposed to do?
Right.
So I don't know, man. I wouldn't. I hate to. I hope the military people come out okay and don't have any long-term damage. Because when you come out of war, man, there's all kinds of things that can bother you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't care anything about that because it's all about him. And, I don't know. I can't hardly stand to watch it, to be honest with you. So anything else? Well,
the one thing that I would just say, going back to Tiger and to all of our listeners out there, I would say you need to be careful because this has changed the way the patrols and people are doing. It has been found out through an investigative report that in Georgia, there was 2025 out of 6,875 blood samples that the GBI tested in 2025 for people that were arrested. They found that most people did not have drugs or alcohol in their system. Yeah. More than 10% of that came back where people really didn't have anything. But what police do now, they are utilizing road sobriety tests that were built to detect alcohol in people. And they're subjecting them to that. And when they pass, they're saying, well, we're going to arrest you anyway because we feel like you're impaired. And then they arrest them. And those people that did blood samples turned out they had nothing in their system.
And I also saw the other day where the people in Minneapolis, I think they said like 90% of the people who were arrested had no criminal records.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
They had who was that said a bandana? They had a bandana against Minnesota. That was my friend.
Not a vendetta.
A bandana. I'm not going to even say who said it.
It was one of our friends, Barbara.
Okay.
Birmingham hanging out.
I can probably guess who that might have been, but okay.
From our basketball team, after we go and kick somebody behind, we sit around and drink beer and kind of pick on each other.
Right.
And so this one friend told another one, like, you always had a bandana against us.
Let's move on.
Did y'all correct him?
No, we didn't.
So let's go to Sean because she's got a minute for us. Sean, are you there? And we'll get to our G.
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute. Let's talk about something real. Let's talk about alignment. Not the kind that you post about, not the kind that even comes to mind. We're talking about the kind that you feel when you're alone. Alignment is quiet. It's not loud or performative. It sounds like this doesn't feel right anymore, or this is no longer for me, or I'm ready to choose differently. And here's the part that people don't say enough. Alignment often requires disruption. You might outgrow conversations. You might shift your boundaries. You might stop explaining yourself. And yes, that can feel uncomfortable. But discomfort isn't always a warning. Sometimes it is indeed confirmation. Confirmation that you are no longer shrinking to fit into spaces that you've already outgrown. So today, ask yourself, where am I forcing things that just don't fit? And what does it look like? What does it look like to move in alignment instead of obligation? You don't need permission. All you need is honesty. And that's it. That is your minute. I want all y'all to go out and have a great day. And if you don't want to, then you do not go and ruin anybody else's, because they can do that for themselves. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute.
Okay, Hollywood's got the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list. And our G list guest today is T.A. Dadou. He is a communication representative at MadlySane.com. He earned his bachelor's degree in communication with a focus on strategic messaging and interpersonal communication. His academic training equips him to support MadlySane's communication needs with professionalism, precision, and a strong understanding of how to connect effectively with diverse audiences. So let's welcome Mr. T.A. Dadou. Good morning, sir. How are you?
How you doing? Good morning.
Appreciate you being with us this morning. So,
It's good to be
Barbara's
here.
got a question for you. Barbara?
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's talk about MadlySane. What is that company all about?
It is a space where people can talk and connect. MadlySane.com is a website. You go on it. You can speak to volunteer listeners if you have any problems. It's you don't have to pay. You don't have to worry about insurance. It's free. It's they're different. It's different things you can do. It's kind of like a social media platform as well, right. Kind of like Facebook. Okay. You could post something and talk to people on it. There are different resources. If you need, if you're in a crisis, there are links that you can go to. It'll direct you to. It's pretty much all about mental wellness.
Mental wellness, great. And who came up with the idea for this company?
My mother, Avis Agunbiade. Okay. She is a doctor of educational. Let's see what her. She's a doctor of educational leadership, master of education and special education, and a master in science and psychology. Right. She's been in education for over 40 years. So it's right now, this is a passion of hers.
Awesome. That's something that's really needed in the community. That's great.
Yep. Who would you say are your base market, your clients? Is it catered more to younger kids? Because nowadays with social media, there's a lot of bullying going on and kids having their personal self-awareness challenge, if you will, and they're being denigrated. Is it catered towards them, or is it catered to adults that are? It's
catered towards anyone. It's there's not a particular demographic. It's catered towards everyone. And like you were saying, yeah, the internet is not a safe place. You know what I mean? But this is a safe space that you can go to. And, there's no judgment. You can talk to, right now there are 3 volunteer listeners that you can talk to. You go to a room within the website, and it's kind of like a video chat, and you can, talk about whatever's on your mind.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
That's, so, there's a lot of talk today, I guess, in education regarding young people. And whereas in the past, you just kind of dismissed them. Oh man, he's crazy, don't worry about it. And I think there's more attention paid to mental health, I guess is what Michael said.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess
Definitely.
you guys are in that space then.
Yeah. Like you were saying, back then it was like people weren't diagnosed with anything,
Right.
Oh, he's just odd or whatever. But now we know it's, autism or, neurodivergence or whatever it is. There's more, definitely people are diagnosed more these days.
Right.
I find the name of it interesting. MadlySane.
Same. Yeah.
I'm mad, but I'm sane, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yeah. It's all about like, owning your quirks and, what makes you different. And that's pretty much where the name comes from,
So you
So,
mentioned very similar to, social media like Facebook. So you actually go to the website, you fill out a profile, I assume, and from there you then start posting or asking questions or whatever. And then is there like
the social media part is there's different parts on
okay.
The social media part is kind of like a group.
Mm-hmm.
When you the different groups you have on Facebook, it's kind of like a group kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what that part's about. There's different games on there, like Sudoku kind of challenges and things, brain teasers. It's a very interesting site. There are a lot of different things you can do to occupy yourself on there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website and you mentioned Neural Nexus. You have a Neural Nexus Navigator dashboard here. And and you have all these different lessons that somebody can put together, I guess what they call your living accommodation plan. But one lesson I see in there in particular, it says executive function and task management. And you can click on there. And so is that teaching you more about time management, how to make executive decisions? Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's pretty much all about, my mom, she's been in education for 40 years, the founder. So, she has a lot of knowledge in, just managing your life pretty much, time management and all that. So yeah, that's what that's about when you go there.
Okay.
And you have several things that you do. One of them is you're a comedian. Tell us about your comedian career.
So I've been doing comedy I've been doing it for about 8 years now. The first 2 years were, the first 5 years actually was just a hobby. And the past 3 have been getting more serious. I was on this big show called Kill Tony. It's a show where comedians will get on. So there's this comedian, Tony Hinchcliffe. I think you might have heard about him. He's there's this big controversy surrounding him. Something he did. So he did the roast of Tom Brady. Did any of you guys watch that?
Yes.
He was one of the comedians that roasted Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also a comedian. He did a bit at a Trump rally. He's the guy that said Puerto Rico was what did he say about Puerto Rico? He said it was a floating
garbage.
Floating garbage. Yeah. So there was a lot of controversy behind that. But the people of Puerto Rico were actually happy that he told that joke, because there is a crisis, a landfill crisis going on in Puerto Rico, where their landfills, it's filled up. So, that joke, although like people were saying it was racist and all that, but it actually brought awareness to the situation of their landfills being filled up, because it's an island, so there's not a lot of places to put the garbage, and it's actually a problem. But anyway, he's the guy that he's the host of the show, and he has comedians come up and they'll do a minute and then they'll interview them. And I got on a big show in California. It was at the YouTube Theater, about 6,000 people in the audience, and I did pretty well. So that's
how do you describe your comedy? What vein do you operate?
Well, my comedy in particular, it's pretty real, and it's pretty it can get raunchy. It might be offensive to some, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's not over the top or anything. It's not. I don't really punch down. I'm not mean about my comedy, but it is it is pretty real. So I have a joke about how I like doing this thing called bathroom confessionals, because I'm not Catholic and I don't see psychiatrists. So when I use a public restroom, and can I cuss on this show?
Go ahead.
Yes.
So when I go to when I see a motherfucker taking a shit in the stall, I use that opportunity for free therapy, to get stuff off my chest, and they gotta listen to me because they're stuck in there. They gotta wipe a whole ass before they get out of there. So I'll tell them stuff like how I almost shit myself at a Buffalo Wild Wings. I was waiting in line. I had to use the bathroom. There was a long line to the bathroom, and I was thinking to myself, man, if I shit myself at this Buffalo Wild Wings, it doesn't matter where I've been, what I've done. Everybody's going to be looking at me like I've done this my whole life. And I almost went to the women's restroom because, look, I identify as a motherfucker that really needs to take a shit right now. kind of how my comedy is. So.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How do you think of this stuff? How do you come up with this? Do you have a process? Do you just sit down like you sitting here looking at us, with the panel wall on the sofa, and you just think of this like that? So,
life is pretty wild. So, I have like an experience and I'll just embellish it. I'll embellish it. I'll call my friends and talk about it, and we'll kind of like riff off of it. And I have a folder in my phone. It's called Premises. I'll just write the premise down and I'll just keep expanding on it and adding tags and building.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds interesting.
Has your mom ever attended any of your comedy shows?
Yeah, she did. She has attended some shows. I do have clean comedy as well. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, she's been to one of my shows.
Okay.
I've never been to any of my fights. I'm a retired mixed martial artist, and so they didn't like my comedy. Or sorry, they didn't like my fighting. Right. My dad, I told him, I was like, he said he hated he hated that fact that I cage fought, and I'm like, man, you watch boxing. That's basically the same thing. And he's like, yeah, I watch porn too, but I don't want to see you in it.
Okay.
I've blended comedy with my mixed martial arts career. I went to a comedy festival last year, and they have different shows going on, and they also had like fights as well. One of them was a jiu-jitsu match, and so I won that, and I am currently the champion of that festival, and I'll have to defend my title in November. So,
and how do you train for that?
I do kickboxing and jujitsu are my main disciplines. So I've been doing it about 20 years.
Okay. And what caused you to get into that?
Well, when I was a child, I did taekwondo and tang sudo, and I've always loved martial arts. And I went to a cage fight in 2007 or 2006, a local cage fight, and I ran into some people in my area that trained, and I just linked up with them. So it's been fun.
So Tola, you're 46 years old, and I'm reading here that you survived a heart attack that made you flatline 3 times. You seem to be in great shape. Tell us about how that happened.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I was training for a fight last year, February. I was going to fight in August, and my chest started hurting, and I had an incident September where my chest hurt, and I went to the ER, and they told me I was fine. So I thought maybe it was the same situation. So I stayed at the gym for a little bit, and then it subsided. I went home, and it started up again. So I drove myself to the hospital. When they sat me down in front of the nurse, boom, heart attack. It was a widowmaker, which like 12% of people survive. I flatlined 3 times, and it shut my kidneys down. I was in an induced coma for a week, but miraculously, my heart made a full recovery, and my kidneys came back. I was on dialysis for a month, but my kidneys made a full recovery. So,
thank God.
And I was on blood thinners for a year. I just got off of blood thinners, so.
Okay.
It was a deal with pretty much genetics. On my mom's side, everyone had heart complications, so I had high cholesterol.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm eating more healthy. I never ate. I don't think I ate any worse than anyone else in this country. But I started eating better. More fruits, more vegetables, less fried food.
So basically, your genetics, in addition to your diet, caused you to have that. Okay, wow.
Yep,
well, I'm glad to know that you've changed your diet and eating habits.
Yeah,
that's great.
Definitely.
Does anybody have anything else? I know, Michael, you got to move out here in a minute.
Yeah, I'm going
to. Do you have anything else that we haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about?
I think we covered it. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely go check out MadlySane.com. It's it's free. There's a lot of links to other places if you need help. So yeah, try us out. MadlySane.com.
Okay, we'll do that.
Definitely check it out.
Barbara, you got anything else, Michael?
I'm going to say thank you for coming on and sharing with us. I want to wish you the best in your martial arts career and what have you, and where that takes you. Certainly happy that you were able to recover, because very few people have the widowmaker and they are able to survive, as you mentioned that. And, at your age, you're still a pretty young man and stuff. Barbara said, to be as fit as you are, and you're going to continue to go and fight. I guess the one concern I'd have is that this probably better than I or anyone else. You can take a blow to your chest, and that can cause some heart issues and cause your heart to stop. Is there any concern?
Well, I've retired from mixed martial arts, from striking. So all I'm really doing is jujitsu right now, which is not. There's no striking involved. So
that's great.
Okay.
I did want to say, I heard you talking about the soldier that was rescued in Iran, and I don't know if you heard. Did you hear Hegseth comparing it to Jesus rising?
No.
He was talking about it. He said, "Oh, that he went down on a Sunday, on a Friday, and he had to hide in a cave, and then they found him on Easter Sunday." You know, so it's
Wow.
yeah.
Those people. That's all I can say. This administration. Wow.
You know, it's some concern when you think about these are the brains behind this operation, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Michael, brains and this operation do not go together. I'm so sorry. That's oxymoron when you're talking about them. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it is concerning when you hear
Yes.
some of the things that they say, and you know they are there making decisions that can impact our well-being and our future.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And he's just talking. Trump's just talking about it so flippantly, like it's no big deal.
Right.
How many times are we going to win this war? That we won it like 9 times already.
Right. We're still winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate having you. And, wish you the best. And maybe if you're in a comedy club in our area, we can catch your act sometime.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Keep us posted.
All
I will.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You can, if you want, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Tech Daddy Alpha.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Tech Daddy Alpha.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that was my cage fighting name, Tech Daddy Alpha, and it came up because I'm a computer tech, so I just kind of like blended that in there.
Okay.
All right. Well, Michael and Barbara, we'll talk to you guys later. And
thank you.
Well, good deal. My closing comment for today, I want to say hello to my good friend, Pat Eddington. I talked to her a week or so ago, and she's doing much better and doing fine, and hope to be able to see you soon, Pat. Thank you. My closing comment, or as I see it, is April 4th, 1968 is a day of reflection for me. I remember exactly what I was doing on that evening. That evening on April 4th, I was on my way home from a spring football practice. I had bummed a ride to downtown Birmingham from my high school. Nothing unusual about that. That's kind of how I got around in that day. But then the news hit. Of course, that was before 24-hour television. That was before CNN and all that. But when the news hit, when the news is as big as Dr. Martin Luther King being gunned down in Memphis, Tennessee, the word spread like wildfire. Not only across Birmingham, but across the country. Riots broke out in several cities. That night, on my way home, I have to admit I was afraid. The bus I needed to catch would take me from one end of Birmingham to the other, passing through a lot of several all-white neighborhoods. That night would prove to be my second major assassination. You see, while sitting in my 6th grade seat at Our Lady of Fatima Elementary School, the nun, our principal, came on the intercom system to tell all of us in the school that the President of the United States had been shot and asked all of us to pray for him and his family. And we did. We sat there at our desk and we said prayers for the president. A little while later, the nun came back on the intercom and she said that the president was dead. Parents would come and take their children out of school. Children were crying. People were praying. It was an incredible scene. It was November 22nd, 1963. I was 11 years old. Some memories are etched in our brains forever. Those 2 assassinations are etched in mine. The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. and the assassination of President John Kennedy. 11 years old and 16 years old. I'll never, ever forget them. And that's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank our G-List guests, Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And as always, we want to thank the people in our chat, our good friends over there. As I said, I mentioned several names earlier. Anthony Tedeschi, Sean is here. Let's see, Speedy Edwards, Loretta Reese, Laurie Lukes, Raymond Crump, and several others. We thank you for being with us. And again, hello to my good friend, Pat Addington. And so that's it for this April 6th in the year 2026. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. You got an extra smile, give it to somebody today. It just might make their day. Enjoy yourself, make every day count. Don't let a day go by that you don't take the time to make your life or somebody else's life better. Stay safe. Blessings. Peace.